What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Red Seat Radio. My name is Corbin. First of all, happy 4th of July to everyone who celebrates it out there. Hopefully you have a great day. I know the weather's fantastic, at least in Massachusetts, so I hope it is where you are as well. Anyways, I thought that we were going to come into this video talking about how the Red Sox were able to regain and reevaluate some stuff in this Cubs series, especially after a tough Blue Jays series. My hope was that they were going to come in, really boost their confidence before they come into this gauntlet of AL East teams. Unfortunately, that is not what happened. In fact, what we got was one of the worst series in 2022. The Red Sox in this series not only dropped 2 out of 3 games to one of the statistically worst teams in the MLB, they also had a multitude of injuries. They had collapses both offensively, defensively, and with their pitching staff, and they set themselves up for a really tough next couple of weeks. And that is what we are talking about today. We are talking about everything that happened in this Cubs series, why it was such a terrible series for the Red Sox, and we're going to talk about what implications this has on the rest of the season, especially the next couple of series. But before we get into that, do me a favor, make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're new here, we talk Red Sox content almost every single day. Also, make sure you guys are hitting the like button as well. It is the best way to help this channel out. And if you enjoy this video, make sure you share with a friend or family member who you think loves the Red Sox as much as you do. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one. Let's get into it. We're going to start with the pitching in this series because that is definitely where the most issues lie. Rich Hill got the ball in game 1 and he was cruising through 4 innings, but unfortunately he got hurt in the 4th and tried to pitch in the 5th, and that ended up costing us 3 runs. And Rich Hill, after this game, officially makes his way onto the IL. And this really wasn't a surprise, I don't think, to anyone, right? At some point we were going to see Rich Hill on the IL given his age and the way that he pitches. He did do it at the worst possible time, and now he's on the 15-day IL going into the 2 toughest series of the year so far with something undisclosed knee related. They said it was a left knee sprain, but then after the MRI refused to say what it was, so no one really knows what it is. But Rich Hill on the IL after giving up 3 runs in the 5th inning, and that's kind of how this series started, right? We could have probably predicted that this series wasn't going to go well if this was just the first game. In the second game, you had Josh Winkowski get the ball, and he continues to be a really bright spot in this Red Sox rotation regardless of the injuries and whatnot, because Josh Winkowski came out and pitched another really great outing. He pitched 6 innings, allowed 1 and struck out 6, and really Josh Winkowski's earned runs should be 0 because both of the runs in this game scored off of an error, and we had errors just simply all over the field in this game. And a Red Sox defense that has looked so much more improved this year just simply kind of fell apart in this series. It was bizarre to watch. In this game alone, you had Rafael Devers overthrow the first baseman on a ground ball that was a little bit tough, but not something Devers couldn't make. And then immediately, literally the play after that, Josh Winkowski airmails Franchi Cordero as well, and then a run scores, and that's just kind of how this series went for the Boston Red Sox. But either way, Josh Winkowski is pitching fantastic. He's really going to be tested in these next couple of weeks, and I'm excited to see how he does because I really do think he can be a genuine pitcher for this Boston Red Sox staff even when everyone's fully healthy. Speaking of minor league guys, Connor Siebold got the ball in game 3 to finish out this series, and he had a much better performance than we saw in the game versus Toronto. Obviously, the competition levels between the Cubs offense and the Blue Jays offense is much different, but either way, it doesn't really matter in my opinion. If you're Connor Siebold, this is a confidence boost 100%, and he's gonna need it. He went 4 innings, allowed 1, and struck out 4, and he's going to need all the confidence he can get going into the next month, mostly because also in this series, Michael Wacha, who wasn't even pitching, was told that he might end up on the IL. He's definitely scratched from today's game with a heavy arm. I'm not even sure what that means, but either way, he's now on the injured list. And our pitching staff, especially our rotation now, is just simply our AAA rotation with Nick Pivetta, and that is worst case scenario going into a series where you've got the Rays, who are consistently an offensive powerhouse. I mean, not this year entirely, but they've been putting in work offensively and against the best offense in all of baseball right now in the New York Yankees. You are throwing out your AAA staff. Not exactly ideal. Hopefully these guys can come through, but definitely is going to make things tough on the pitching staff going forward. As for the bullpen, they imploded in this series too, because why not? And by the bullpen imploding, I mean Hansel Robles imploded. He allowed 3 runs to tie the game and eventually go ahead in just 2/3 innings. And Hansel Robles, I don't even know what to say at this point. I'm not entirely sure why he's on the team. I'm not entirely sure why he's pitching against anybody that isn't a 21-run lead. I don't know. I have no idea what to say about Hansel Robles. But it wasn't just Robles in this series. Matt Strahm gave up a tying run in Game 3, and luckily the Red Sox were able to hold on to it, but that now makes the Red Sox 18 blown saves. And they now have more blown saves than they do actual completed saves. And that is the biggest problem on the Red Sox right now. We have made video after video after video about it. And nothing seems to get done. Nothing seems to change. And I don't know what to say about this bullpen anymore. I'm just hoping and praying that they're able to put it together for the next couple of series. But in all honesty, I don't expect a ton of great stuff. It's going to have to be a very offensive heavy next couple of weeks. And that's what we got to talk about next, because the offense in this series had a tough time as well. The offense was essentially dead in this series. You had Jarren Duran, who had a leadoff home run in the very first pitch of the very first game of this series. Then after that, it felt like the offense died. Jarren Duran continues to have a really great time at the plate and really be improved defensively. With the Boston Red Sox, he's officially vaccinated, and he is going to be on this Red Sox team for a while, according to Alex Cora and his teammates. So expect a lot more of Jarren Duran in the future, which I'm really excited for. I really think Jarren Duran has really improved this team all around, especially offensively. He had so much versatility. So shout out to Jarren Duran in this series. But besides that, maybe Franchi Cordero we can shout out, who had a couple multi-hit games, but there was really no one who did much of anything. There were a lot of runs scored on errors, on sac flies, on stuff like that. There weren't a lot of doubles. I think Rafi and JBJ had the only doubles in this series. So I don't really know what to highlight in the offensive side of this. My biggest concern with the offense is not the guys surrounding the big three, but the big three themselves, because in this series, JD only played 2 games, but didn't really do a whole lot. Like I said with Rafi, he had a double, but besides that, he had to bunt to get on base, and that's just not something I've ever seen Rafi do. And on top of that, Xander Bogaerts got injured in this series. He got a cleat to the thigh after trying to swipe a guy who's stealing second base, and he needed 7 stitches. He's not going to be out for a super long time, but still day to day, to lose your captain like that going into a couple of series that you really need him in is not a great thing. He also wasn't doing great at the plate though, so all 3 of these guys slumping at the same time is kind of killing the Red Sox. The Red Sox have always, for the last couple of years, lived and died by their big 3, and so when these guys aren't playing well, the whole team feels like it's not playing well. And I think these guys have a much bigger part in these Red Sox wins than a lot of us realize, even beyond statistics. So we really need those guys to turn around and turn around quickly. We need the guys behind them and the guys in front of them to do their job and play their roles the way that they should, so that these guys can excel and do what they do best. All in all, this series was essentially a disaster, and it's one that I really don't think anyone saw coming. It appeared from all levels that this team had turned a corner and started to run full steam ahead, only to hit a brick wall and send themselves back to what they looked like in April. My only hope is that this is a stumble, not a fall, a trip, not a fall, something like that, where it's a little bump in the road. Yeah, it sucks. They've only won 2 of their last 6 games, but at the same time, right, they had a fantastic June. There's still a lot of baseball left. You're getting your pitching staff back slowly but surely, so I still have faith. I think this team stumbled a little bit these last couple of days, but I think they picked themselves up heading back to Fenway Park, face a Rays team that's kind of facing the same thing we are with their pitching staff and some injuries on the offense. So we'll see what kind of happens. All I know is that the Yankees versus our AAA rotation is going to be a wild thing to watch. So get ready, sit down, and buckle up, because these next couple of weeks are going to be stressful. Either way, let me know what your thoughts are on the Red Sox in general right now below. Let me know what you think of the Red Sox Cubs series down below. Let me know what you think of the Tampa Bay or Yankees series down below. How do you think we'll do? Let me know all your thoughts on this Red Sox team down below. As always, if you've made it to the end of this video, do me a favor, make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button. Like I said at the beginning, this is the content we talk about almost every single day. If you enjoy it, you might as well hit subscribe. You also might as well hit the like button if you enjoy this video as well. It helps these videos out a ton. It would mean a lot to me. And the last thing you can do if you enjoy this video is to share with a friend or family member that loves the Red Sox as much as you do, because there's a good chance they'll enjoy it too. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one, and I will see you in the red seats.